So the Department of Justice and the Securities Exchange Commission have together at the same time used the Consolidated Audit Trail, the CAT system, to conclude that Andrew Left of Citron Capital has been illegally manipulating Gamestop. MC, cheers, my friends. Appreciate you. That's mighty kind of you. And this guy is going to squeal like a pig. Paul, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This guy is going to try to save his own ass. He is facing 25 years in federal FU in the A prison. Right? I guess you guys all know what that means. A federal grand jury in California has charged short seller Andrew Left with multiple counts of securities fraud for a $16 million stock market manipulation scheme, in which GameStop was one of the main reasons why he got caught. This is huge, guys. Holy shit, this is hilarious. So this is a dual thing here. We've got both the Department of Justice and the Securities Exchange Commission charging him with this fraud. The SEC today announced charges against activist short seller Andrew Left and his firm, Citron Capital, for engaging in a $20 million multi-year scheme to defraud investors and followers by publishing false and misleading statements regarding his supposed stock trading recommendations. Is anybody surprised? Anybody at all? So the SEC's complaint alleges that Andrew Left used his Citron Research website and Twitter page and his social media platforms on at least 26 separate occasions and publicly recommended taking long or short positions in 23 companies and held out the positions as consistent with his own and Citron Capital's positions. The complaint alleges that following Left's recommendations, the price of the target stocks moved more than 12% on average. According to the SEC, once the recommendations were issued and the stocks moved, Left and Citron Capital quickly reversed their positions to capitalize on the stock price movements, and as a consequence, Left bought back stock immediately after telling his readers to sell, and he sold stock immediately after telling his followers to buy. The complaint alleges that Andrew Left and Citron made several false and misleading statements in connection with this scheme. For example, the defendants told the market that they would stay long on a target stock until the price hit $65, when in fact, they immediately began selling the stock at $28. It further alleges that they falsely represented to the market that Citron was an independent research outlet that had never received compensation from third parties to publish info about target companies, when in fact, Citron Research and Andrew Left had entered into compensation arrangements with hedge funds. So this right here is absolute proof of the fact that there are paid shills, and a lot of them, out there that falsely represent themselves as being independent outlets or independent investors and have actually received paid compensation, cash money, from hedge funds, family offices, and other short sellers to publish information about target companies, when, of course, they entered into these compensation arrangements. This is directly from the United States Securities Exchange Commission, published today against Andrew Left and Citron Capital in dual lawsuits between the SEC and the Department of Justice. That is what you are seeing here. So we're not looking at one, we're looking at two separate press releases here. So he has been indicted by a federal grand jury in the Central District of California. And he is being sued in a $20 million fraud scheme by the Securities Exchange Commission. He is facing 25 years in federal fuck-me-in-the-ass prison. He is going to turn and roll on some of these people without question. Yeri says his last comment on GameStop, I believe, was on 6/13, and he said he was, quote, no longer short GameStop, end quote. So, since it seems like he's a BS artist, he likely shorted hard in mid-June. Flower from December, welcome back, my friend. I hope you're well. Says, I just can't with this level of corruption. It is insane. This guy is going to face major RICO charges. You're absolutely right, chat. And Samony Walbeck brings up a great point. Now we know that the CAT system works for all of the doubters. For all the doubters out there that were wondering what's going on with the Securities Exchange Commission and the Consolidated Audit Trail, here it is right here. Because the SEC would not have this data if it wasn't for the shares being tracked by the Consolidated Audit Trail, because now the SEC can share that information with the Department of Justice. So the Department of Justice said in a statement today that Andrew Left, who is a securities analyst, trader, and guest commentator on television channels like other paid shows like CNBC, is charged with 1 count of engaging in securities fraud, 17 counts of securities fraud, and 1 count of making false statements to federal investigators. So the Department of Justice said that he conducted business under the name Citron Research, and he published research on companies from Tesla to GameStop, Peloton, and many, many others in between. And if convicted, he's facing a maximum penalty of 25 years in prison on the securities fraud scheme count, 20 years in prison on each securities fraud count, and 5 years in prison on false statements in court. So I am incorrect on my statement. Let me show this to you guys. He's actually facing over 250 years in prison. I need to update this stream, don't I? So he's 25 years on the possibility securities fraud scheme and 20 years for each of the 17 securities fraud schemes. And then 5 more years on the false statements. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what happens when you try to manipulate markets and you think you are smarter than the regulators. Somebody saying, get ready, Mayo boy. You're next. Somebody asks, how do we know if it's a result of the CAT system or old data? Does it say in the report? We know it's a result of the CAT system because the CAT system began implementation in the beginning of May. The information that has occurred here and what they are saying happened in June with GameStop. So the report does not state where they got their data from, but it's obvious, it's clear. It could not be anything less than the Consolidated Audit Trail at work. Because now they have the direct information from the brokerages, exactly what he bought, what he sold, with his name, bloody fingerprints, timestamps, all over it. And they've been able to easily match it up with his statements on social media. The DOJ said to maintain the false pretense that Citron's recommendations and positions were sincerely held, the defendant left made false and misleading representations and half-truths about his economic incentives, conviction in Citron's analysis, and valuations of targeted securities. Oh, this is hilarious. You can see here. Let me show this to you. Yeri says, when life hands you citron, make lemonade. That's great. Among left's most high-profile targets were the now defunct China Evergrande, which we all knew was a scam, but he also went after Shopify, Gamestop, Valiant Pharmaceuticals, and others, including Tesla. Proponents of short activists say they play a crucial role in the market, but critics have accused them of short and distort tactics that have unfairly damaged public companies, which is exactly what has happened here. So Friday's charges are the culmination of a years-long probe by criminal prosecutors in Washington and LA and the SEC. They first began investigating him in 2019, along with other short sellers and hedge funds. Sorry, my dog's going nuts because the family is just getting home. You can see here one of the posts posted here by our community friend, Phil For Real. Citron is no longer short GameStop, they said. It's not because we believe in a turnaround for the company fundamentals will ever happen, but with $4 billion in the bank, they have enough runway to appease their cult-like shareholders. Despite Wedbush setting an $11 target today, we respect the market's irrationality. After all, Dogecoin remains a $20 billion entity. While the increased share count might temper the mob mentality, Citron will be watching from the sidelines for now. And this guy went on CNBC to cry and bitch and moan about Roaring Kitty, and also known as Deep Fucking Value. So basically what we're looking at here is that we're looking at an event, GameStop and AMC and such, that triggered a massive whirlwind of reactions, ladies and gentlemen, from politicians, regulators. There's been a massive cascade of concerns from retail investors and others, proposals for new laws and investigations into potential misconduct. So this whole atmosphere over the last 3+ years has been charged with accusations of market manipulation and speculation, painting the financial markets as a rigged game or a casino, and rightfully so, because we've seen it happen time and time again. Contrary to the popular image of unregulated and predatory financial system, the actions of those involved and the events themselves literally highlight an intricate network of regulations already in place, but are failing. They are failing. The regulation currently helps market efficiency at the cost of harming retail investors. And the calls for investigations and additional regulations have been overlooked time and time again, regardless of whether you're talking about GameStop, AMC, MMAT, MMTLP, Nvidia, Tesla, and so on and so on. Silver, gold, you name it. There's been massive uproar amongst a persistent mix of manipulation and misplaced confidence from these so-called experts like Andrew Left and Citron Research, who have ultimately been misleading investors for years and years. And the GameStop and AMC episode is just one example of the broader financial markets and the issues that we've run into due to commission-free trading and payment for order flow. Hence, why Robinhood, Interactive Brokers, Webull, E-Trade, and many others had to make these stocks position close only. because they were literally at the point where they faced complete insolvency. It's because of manipulations like this that we decided to create Lit Exchange. You guys can get a lot more information on litexchange.com. We are a fintech company, basically. And for the last 3 years, we've been working on creating an upcoming stock and crypto brokerage firm to help fight the manipulation in payment for order flow and dark pools. Do yourself a favor. Go to litexchange.com and input your email address. We will not ask you for any personal information. And you can be among the first to have the opportunity to use this brokerage firm once we launch it for stocks, crypto, and many other things to come in the near future, as well as the opportunity to own equity and shares of stock in the company, Lit Exchange. We are a private company, and in the coming years, when we eventually IPO, if and when we eventually IPO, you will then have the opportunity to sell your shares. So this would be a long-term hold. But this is not a solicitation to buy, hold, or sell any securities. You can go to our website and see there that we are launching a Regulation D and Regulation CF Founders Program investment campaigns where you can own this company and in the future potentially make significant profits. Not to mention, be part of real change in financial markets in which you can help own and have a say in the way that we actually conduct business and move forward. Because I will look to you guys, as I have in the past, into what you really want out of a stock and crypto brokerage firm, into what matters to us as retail investors. So keep that in mind. Go check it out, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have a great weekend. Remember, there's a reason why I wear this hat so often. There's a reason why AMC and Gamestop have so much potential. And it's because of all the market manipulation that's occurred from guys like this and companies like this. There's a reason the Department of Justice is taking out short sellers and investigating MMTLP, AMC, GameStop, Tesla, and many others and many other companies that have been naked shorted and manipulated. And I think retail investors have had enough. Joe brings up a great point. He says another reason they need to crack down on these guys is that they sell securities sold, not yet purchased. That's right. That's called short selling. And when they sell those without having a locate, that is called naked shorting. And when they manipulate markets, they think they're smarter than the rest of us. And they get tripped up in their own little ego and in their own little head. And they believe that there are no repercussions. And we can see here that that is in fact not the case. This guy, if convicted, faces 25 years in prison on the one securities fraud scheme and 20 years in prison on per count of 17 separate counts of securities fraud and another 5 years in prison for making false statements. So thankfully we've got the FBI, the Department of Justice, the Securities Exchange Commission, the Consolidated Audit Trail out there fighting for retail investors. And I very much look forward to this case, even more so than the fraud perpetrated by Archegos and Credit Suisse, who, as we all know, Bill Huang of Archegos has been found guilty of committing fraud. Sam Bankman-Fried of FTX has been guilty of committing fraud, both of which held swaps and fake shares on GameStop and AMC This has been a long time coming. We've now seen dozens and dozens of family offices and hedge funds become insolvent and bankrupt. And now we're seeing them, both through Bill Hwang and his CFO for Archegos, get sent to federal prison. Now we're going to see it with, and then we also saw it with Sam Bankman-Fried, getting sent to federal prison, also for using FTX to commit securities fraud against AMC and Gamestop. And now we're going to see it with Andrew Left of Citron Research. And there's a lot more to go. This story, this saga of AMC and GameStop, it's nowhere near over, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great weekend. I wish you peace and wealth. Cheers, motherfuckers. We're going to be filthy fucking rich. I'll leave you guys with my favorite song. This is so fucking awesome. Dan, Lisa, Sam, I appreciate you guys all for being here. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I wish you peace and wealth. So fucking rich.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
Fucking rich. I want my fucking money. Griffin, I want my fucking money. Yo, motherfucker. Holy shit, we're gonna be so fucking rich. Damn it, we're gonna be so fucking rich. Griffin, I want my fucking money.
You're an original,
Hey,
aren't
yelling,
you?
cowboy. Give me the fucking money. Get the goddamn money printer out.
Great. The bounty cutter.
We're gonna be so fucking rich. Get the goddamn money printer out.